Welcome to the next race in the Pokemon Crystal tournament. We do have Waka versus Manelash today, and the last round of this was stage a 4-in-1 match, so both are already qualified to the bracket stage, but there is a bye in the first round still on the stakes here, so yeah, both runners probably looking for their 5th win here to have a round or a week off in the first. At the beginning of the bracket stages. And, we are about to be starting here.
Be interesting to see whether the runners will act differently with the ball at the beginning rather than use a repel on the first route. But the levels on Route 29 are often a lot lower than they are on the routes following. So it'll be interesting to see whether they just stick to the muscle memory and just use the repel as soon as they get to Route 29.
That will maybe also depend a bit on the starter that we get. So, I mean, the Eevee is interesting. We can do a lot with it, but getting it started from level 5 is not always the easiest task. It would be interesting if we were to getting to see a very early stone in one of the early items, because there would be some interesting options.
I think on this mode, you can't get the stones randomly. They'd have to be the hidden items if the runners decide to pick those up along the way.
I mean, that's still an option available to them, so it's something to think about, but it's not very reliable, and Tentacruel on its own is okay if it has some moves, so I don't blame the runners for taking it here on the given options. Yeah, we'll see what Route 30 has to offer. We maybe find something better. Raichu? Yeah. If it has moves, it could be something. Manelash not that interested apparently. A big problem of Raichu is being a stone evolution. It doesn't really learn any moves on its own, so if it doesn't start with a good moveset already, it's not getting much help anytime soon, so that's always a slight downside of trying to run stone evolutions.
Well, the majority of them. So Eevee, since we brought that up already, Eevee will learn moves when it levels up.
Yeah.
Getting a nice early dig TM, so escape ropes only required for the actual escape rope chamber, because I don't think you can dig out of that one.
Nope, that does not work. You need an actual escape rope for that, so yeah. We do need that one, but we only need that one if we just use dig, which, especially very early on, is a nice money save. So you have more money available to buy repels early, buy some healing items early.
Especially with the nugget and vitamins we've already seen so far.
But yeah, so far the options on Route 30 didn't seem too great. We had Raichu, we had Persian, we have a Nidoqueen that has some moves, but Nidoqueen on itself does not have the best stats. Maybe Manelash wanting to take a look at Route 31, what that still has to offer. We do have Dark Cave still, where we could look for something, and even Route 36 and the Ruins of All Chambers have potential options, and we also could just go into Sprout Tower and look for something in there too, if we want to. So, do still have a lot of options where we could look for something.
I guess we don't need to buy one.
we just find our escape rope. That's very nice. And get some more money. Yeah. Oh, that's an interesting find. And red scale this early, you could just decide to turn around and immediately turn that in. It's a slight detour, but it's not the worst. Looks like Manelash is going for it.
It's just too much of a risk, really, not to, I would say, because if that is the way your progress is locked, I mean, I suppose it depends on Kenya as well, right? If you're going to go and take Kenya back, you may as well do it then.
Yeah. It's I mean, it's a single check, so it's not that likely that it definitely is a progression, but it is an option. I mean, there are some.
There are worse.
Maybe, there might be some more reasons that you might want to take a tour back towards Ubark. With like the mystery egg, we did also get the rainbow badge here, so the first badge. And yeah, they are just one check. We have still so much more on the way to Goldenrod where we can just find our progress, and we haven't even really checked much in Violet yet either. So, do you have an Alakazam here on Route 36? It comes Rando with a physical move, because that's what you don't want to see, so that's what the Rando is giving to you. Waka's still taking a look at it at least. We did not see two other moves yet. If anything, we also need...
Icy Wind and Bubble Beam? Could be worse. Two special moves is a lot better than some of the Alakazams I've seen in the past that can't hit some types at all.
Yeah, that's definitely a reasonable start. Alakazam has these stats to make the not ideal moves work better than others early on. So we'll have to see if Waka is just running into relentless armies of water-type Pokemon, because we can't really hit them that good yet. Or if we can just do with Bubble Beam and Icy Wind.
Just a bit unfortunate that water is, I think, the second most common type in the game.
I actually think it's the most common type, if I recall correctly what others said to me. So it's a bit of a stretch to hope to not run into water types at all.
Hey, that one's fine. That one's fine.
Yeah. It actually is kinda, given that it also is dragon, so the ice is normal. Do we get an early Pokegear? Seems like Manelash is sticking with the Tentacruel for now. The options got available to him didn't seem too appealing. I didn't get a good catch of what the Victory Bell had. Victory Bell has some good offense, it just does not really have the good defense, so it could run into some troubles if it is not able to dispose of some Pokemon well enough. Tentacruel somewhat has the problem the other way around. It's not the strongest in itself, but it's quite a bit harder to kill.
Which in itself makes it a good starter to avoid the rival from having it as well, unless you wanted to take whatever that garbage Pokemon was on the right before.
Yep. Yeah, looks like Waka is getting that Alakazam up to start. Didn't run into a big problem now, and once it gets the levels, oh, unfortunate freeze. I try attack and
What? Wow.
Huh. Okay. Through the Aridos, so that's good. Yeah, that was something. Getting frozen by Tri Attack into then getting put to sleep immediately after. But yeah, so far Sprout Tower was surprisingly tame for the Alakazam. So it does get into the range where it can actually take off. Alakazam stats throughout the tournament are terrible. It just wasn't really able to get much wins in there, and that can be probably attributed to its very low defense, making it very hard on especially Red to properly set up. Since it dies so easily, it's rarely able to take more than 2 hits. So yeah, while it's definitely a very, very good option and can, especially early on, also be really good to just get through the beginning pretty quick. There's a point where it definitely can fall off, since it's not since it can be hard to get some of the harder fights quick with it.
Those TMs are helping absolutely nobody.
I mean, if nothing else, there are some additional money. I think that's the absolute best you can say about those moves. If you would have a level 30 plus Pokemon right now for some reason, and it absolutely does not have any attacks with PP to it, then I think you maybe could teach Tackle or a Pound, and was until you get something better, which shouldn't be too hard to find. Yeah, I think that's about the only case I could see for any of those moves coming in even remotely useful.
And even at this point, you'd rather teach Cut.
Maybe.
Probably. That's a little bit less accurate, right?
I mean, there's also the thing that being an HM, you cannot just teach over it, which, especially with a really subpar move like Cut, is a bigger problem. Like, I mean, if you find Waterfall and have that, that's not too terrible. Waterfall in itself is still a good attack, even if Surf is better. So you don't have as many problems teaching that, but stuff like Cut or Whirlpool, they're just not good moves, and you don't want them have them bound to your moveset until you can reach the move deleter, which might be very far, very late into the game.
Some of these ROMs don't even get there at all to Blackthorn, so you'd need Strength and 7 badges, and you'd probably want to have Fly before you went over there, so not particularly helpful for anybody. Let alone the time it takes to actually delete the move, and you might delete the wrong move, which I think I've done before.
So it really is not an ideal option. So I think at this point I would almost always would prefer teaching Pound over Cut to something I intend to run for more than 2 minutes. I mean, You could almost say if you teach cut at this point, just to have something you already committing to a main switch. At that point.
True.
Looks like Manelash is heading into Ilex Forest before taking on Azalea. Let's see if it's just scouting the well for potential surf. Or some help in terms of moves before going to Ilex, or if this is into the well, or if this is an full-on Azalea skip. We do not have found either Fly or Storm Badge, so that's maybe a slight problem, but there is actually Surf, so with nothing else, that's a considerable moveset upgrade. Having Step Surf on the Tentacruel definitely helps.
Yeah, the Alakazam isn't going to be particularly helped by Surf, but it is stronger than Bubble Beam, but it doesn't solve its cut problem.
Yeah, and we get the Hive Badge, so Cut is actually usable now. Which
early Cut is always a weird one.
Yeah, it doesn't really do much for us aside from the one check on the Route 32 right now, which is quite far out of the way by now. Yeah. Really not your best option. It isn't full-on this Azalea skip for Manelash for now.
With all the backtracking items, it wouldn't be surprising if they went back through Azalea later. With Kenya, Mystery Egg, the cut item that we just unlocked.
No. Definitely a reasonable consideration. I did see Manelash selling the Dig TM, so yeah, he actually has to buy escape ropes again, which isn't too terrible given the money we have. Blizzard, I mean, it's a strong move, but it's not really helping the Alakazam in terms of coverage either. So, oh, that's a sleep-inducing move. It's not Spore, because I think the way it was worded implored that it wasn't guaranteed to put to sleep.
Always nice to keep onto a sleep move. It can be very useful for setting up in fights, whether that's red or one of the other difficult fights.
Yeah, and that's definitely something that could actually help the Alakazam, especially since it has so big survivability problems. Being able to, or being fast enough to be able to put sleep moves onto Red's main. Before Ken. Oh,
good old Thunderbolt as well. So we're seeing a lot of things in Goldenrod right now, alongside the two items in the basement. Sorry, not basement, but the thing that leads from the basement. That thing.
The basement.
Department store basement. That's the one.
Yeah. Yeah. But, early card key is an interesting one, although we don't really have many badges right now. Machine parts, not really important right now. It will be coming to play once we get access to Kanto and find the Fog badge. Yeah, definitely two more of the interesting key items to see.
It's always nice to see the machine part before you have to go over anyway for something such as Misty or anything like that. So it's always nice to find that early just to save you time later on.
Yep. And picking up Kenya before heading into the underground mall. Yeah, that Kenya does not help us in any way. The field moves, we don't want to run that.
Hey, a way to deal with water types in an emergency.
Yeah, probably do, unless
how many statuses does this Alakazam need?
All of them.
And confusion.
Well, it can also be put to sleep, apparently.
What is this moveset? It has Glare and a sleeping move, and a move that throws. Ugh.
I mean, side of that is it can just do attack you only so many times Ice Beam has the not very
Heracross with
much
its signature move here as well.
Yeah. That's not what an Alakazam wants to see. Yeah, taking the Step Mega Horn to the face is a slight problem for it. And, well, we did see the Plain Badge in the National Park.
Yeah, so that's the other thing. The advantage of having early cut means you don't have to fight the bug catcher on Route 35 to get the item that is normally rollout as well.
You would have to take a loop around though, so I'm not sure if it really does save that much time, unless you might
He
have
has taken
trouble
the save.
defeating the level 15, which I mean, Manelash has skipped Azalea, so his Tentacruel isn't really up there in levels yet, so the fight might be a bit harder for him. So that way, reasonably can save. Seems like Waka is not going to try Bugsy again right now. Not feeling confident about the Heracross I guess, which is reasonable. Did the Clear Bell in National Park, so unfortunately not safe resetting the backtracking here for Manelash.
Currently, we haven't seen anything from Azalea, but of course, with that gym fight, we may be about to see that with Manelash as well.
Yeah, Manelash can do that on the return. Oh, that's a Zephyr badge. Okay.
That puts Flash into logic as well, so it doesn't really help either of the runners right now because the only Flash item that's even reachable is the item that they both already picked up from Dark Cave in the beginning, because they don't have Squirt Bottles, so don't have Rock Smash yet either.
And it wasn't anything particularly important, so it doesn't even tell us that we have now something in logic that we didn't have before, so yeah. Will be interesting to see what the Flash is intended for later. If we get a Fog Badge, we have access to the Flash Chamber. If we get Kanto access, then Rock Tunnel would be in logic already. So there are some options for what that Flash could be intended to. It wouldn't be for a Power Plant, given that we also would have had cut access to that. Yeah. There's also the Zephyr Badge check alone on Route 32. So, lots of reason for it. So, yeah, Manelash with the Tentacruel probably should have a better time going against Bugsy.
We'll just see how the statuses go.
It has a better moveset, so it can, with Thunderbolt especially, just dispose of the Krabby before it gets too annoying.
True.
Yeah, the trade-off is here that Manelash had to leave behind Whitney because Manelash just didn't have the levels to get through the gym there. Reasonable. Waka will have that option available to him too, so we will see which of the gyms may or may not prove advantages to the respective runner right now. Doing some early X item shopping. So
I think it's a total of 5 backtrack items at this point as well that are unlocked that require going at least back through Union Cave, so anything could still happen once they get out of there.
Waka probably extremely happy over this Thunderbolt from the move tutor. I mean, Solar Beam is water type coverage, yes, but we have seen its problems already with being a 2-turn move against a Krabby. And yeah, Thunderbolt is about the best you can wish for in terms of water type coverage. So really helping out this Alakazam. Also teaching Surf. It is still an upgrade over Bubble Beam. 25 or 30 base power upgrade while only losing 5 PP is definitely a trade-off worth still. And there's always the balance you want to strike between having powerful moves and having enough attack PP available that you don't really need to run into the towards Pokemon centers every 5 minutes. Which Surf and Thunderbolt just really strike that perfect symbiosis of them, with having 90 or 95 base power and still having 15 PP to that available. So yeah, Waka probably pretty happy here right now with what he has available. Also has pretty much perfect coverage given the Surf, Thunderbolt, Blizzard combination. Probably does not want to rely too much on Blizzard if he does not have to. But yeah, if he needs to dispose of an Scary Dragon, for example, he has that option available. And looks like Bugsy only had a Sludge TM for us, so not too big of a problem that Walker had to postpone that gym fight. Ooh. Yeah, Mega Kick Flareon hurts an Alakazam. But we are able to outspeed it. Alakazam, one of the fastest Pokemon out there. Does not really need quick attack to strike first in most cases. There's the pass. Oh. That's an interesting
And a
one.
sketch TM. That's a very helpful Whitney fight. So they'll probably go straight to Kanto instead of doing all the backtracking, which I don't believe Waka went back for the red scale check either.
Yep. Well, we do have a blue card on the Zephyr Badge check. While that's
not helpful in this mode.
No. It's a trackable item on your tracker, but as you said, in this mode it doesn't really do anything for you.
So there'll be a small advantage if there is an item in any of these backtracking scenarios here, because I don't think Waka's likely to go for those at this point.
I don't think it's very likely either, so yeah.
Did Manelash check the Raw Guy item?
Yeah, he did. It wasn't anything important, I just didn't really catch what it was. Yep, Manelash going all the way back to Professor Allen to turn in the Mystery Egg. That is, I think, the last item that we have available over here right now. Unless we find the Fog Badge or the Rising Badge next. Which would be interesting if we get 5 Rising Badges of the assistant. We'll see. Nope.
5 balls, nothing interesting.
Manelash is setting that, saving a bit of the trip back here. Yeah. Has now one more item available that Waka is likely not getting early in the item returning to the guard after turning in Kenya. But aside from that, this backtrack didn't really pay off for Manelash. And yeah, with the pass now, given that we have the machine part and access to Rock Tunnel, with the full flash access there, it does seem likely that our progress is somewhere in Kanto. Saffron just handing out some Ultra Balls right now.
Not yet seeing what the Kenya return item is, but hopefully Manelash will remember to check that after Whitney.
I mean,
and not head straight to Kanto.
In terms of moving, just going to Whitney first feels more efficient. Like you can do it still in either all around if you both do both anyway, but there might be some consideration if the squirt bottle were on Whitney that you would have to only take one trip up to the guardhouse again, since you want to go that way anyway. So it makes slightly more sense to do Whitney first. But I don't think Manelash is forgetting that guardhouse item, especially after doing this long backtrack for essentially nothing so far. There we go. And it was nothing.
Lovely.
Yeah. Heading into Kanto now, because there has to be something here, somewhere. It's not on Route 12. Cannot check the last item without Surf yet, but or rather without Fog Badge yet. Don't have the ability to use Surf, although we do have it. $35 Voltorb, not the scariest, but the crit definitely helping here.
Voltorb is extremely fast, so the level difference really kicks in there.
Yeah. There's a squirt, so yep, that's our North Johto access, fully in logic.
It's going to be a long time till we see both parts of Fly.
Yep. I don't expect Waka to be going for some of the harder fights in Janine or even Erika right now, even though we could, and they could have. Either part of Fly. Seems like Waka is setting up for Death Warp here, which definitely isn't that hard for being best on the level.
Just getting backfire that other trainer is just an absolute nightmare, because you have to go into the route all the way through, have the trainer walk to you, then leave the route and come back in. It's just ridiculous. That's why I prefer just not going to Lavender at all until I can help it.
Yeah, just reasonable, but I mean, with the current item loadout, it was just so likely that Rock Thunder would hold onto something that would be our progression, so there was not too much reason to put it off. And yeah, Waka has his last center set in Azalea, so he could just back to do the gym there, which somewhat works out for him. Now
Trivial
with the
this time
squirt bottle,
around.
yeah. Now with the squirt bottle, he can also take the the back tour more easily, since he can just just take the squirt bottle away after all of this, after turning the Kenya, so he can take all the items and don't has to take the long loop back around again. But still not able to get through Bugsy, and not able to dispose of the Heracross fast enough, and apparently it does not have any revives with them at the moment. Yeah, Manelash also getting into a rock tunnel. Will be getting a squirt bottle as Walker almost forgets this item here, just a Razor Leaf TM. Which, given the number, is one of the viable TMs in Celadon Mart, so there's not too much more reason to check, or there's one less reason to check out the TMs in there at least. We already know one of them. Waka especially is probably also not looking for too much assistance. We would probably prefer Ice Beam or even Ice Punch over a Blizzard if he would have the choice, but it's not that likely to happen at this point. And Blizzard will probably do just fine. So slight upside that Waka has here, he can just turn in the red scale now with cuts and save himself a bit of backtracking here. It's going all the way for the mystery egg as well here though, which Waka did not necessarily have to do right now. With Squirt Bottle access, Waka can wake up the Snorlax and therefore has access to buy Rock Smash now, which are also fully in logic, all 3 items in there. The item on 46 subsequently too. So that could have been a reason to potentially save this particular backtrack to combine it together with those checks. Waka is going back all the way here now, instead of doing that together. Meanwhile, Manelash found the squirt bottle and is immediately heading back and towards Northern Johto, because we can reasonably expect our next progress to be somewhere here with all the options that we have available. Will be interesting if Manelash is going to back for buying Rock Smash before he does anything else. We do also have that one Rock Smash item in Burnt Tower available, but no, Manelash going into Equity without Rock Smash right now. There's a Shadow Ball TM. That's a very, very good physical attack. So if we were going to main switch, that could be something interesting. And yeah, Manelash leaving Critique immediately again and heading straight for Olivine. While Waka is actually going back for the return item to the guard and probably buying Rock Smash right now, since he's already back over here anyway. So yeah, could be interesting to see if Waka is also going back to check out those, check out the Dark Cave as well, because there's really not much reason not to at this point for him. All 4 items there could be Fly or Storm Badge. They're not too far out of the way. Well, we do stick Laser Badge in Olivine from Fisherman. So it is our 5th badge, we are closing in on being able to use the card key. Which also is somewhat interesting point to take note of, given that we do have clear bar already, so 10 tower access might not be too far off, and there are two ways to get in there. Either by beating Morty or by beating the radio tower. So if you were to wish to do one or the other, but not both, be interesting to see if both options are actually available, or if we were to be forced going into Morty early.
Got a lot of incomplete sets at the moment, so we could expect to see Fog Badge soon as well, which would unlock an absolute massive amount of items, half of which are backtracking again, and half of them are in Rocket Base and over to Cien Wood and all sorts. Once you've got North Johto, Surf unlocks so many new things.
Yep. Definitely a lot of things that we could find to make a lot of things available that we don't really have access to yet. There's also most of the checks that we are available could definitely profit from finding something else. For example, the secret potion for the lighthouse. The rainbow wing for the Centaur that we can do acrotique in one go there. Don't have to come back there. Fog Badge just to get half of the checks available in this game. We could find a plane badge to get a few strength items unlocked in Mount Mortar. The strength HM, we do have the plane badge. So yeah. As you said, lots of incomplete sets right now. Waka did not go back for the Dark Cave right now. Which, if we find strength reasonably soon and get up to 7 badges, which isn't too far off, we could also just do the complete Dark Cave in one go and might save some time that way. Has a bit of a downside, given that one of the fly parts could be early in there, and they would make movement around the map much better if you get both of them. But they just could also be all in the remaining text that we didn't see, which, Olivine so far had the Glacier badge, but nothing else. So, without Fog Badge, we really don't have too much else left here in Johto right now. We do still have...
Magma something Diglett, I believe I heard there, but I can't remember.
The Entei is either Giraffric or Porygon 2. I'm never sure which one of those two it is, but they have a very distinctive cry where it's only one or the other. So that regardless of what it is, that Entei is a pretty reasonable main choice if you were to get it. I'm definitely not the best with cries, but that Entei is actually one of the things that I can reasonably identify, and considering that Waka was going to Route 37 instead of Route 38, I believe he was very well intending to want to the Entei if it shows up.
Even just a level boost can be helpful with some Pokemon, but actually getting them can be the challenge there.
Yep. We do have both runners in Acrotique at the same time. Manelash is going for the Kimono Girls first, where Waka already taken on Morty. Aside from these checks, we only have 4 more checks east of Ekrotik right now available to us without 7 badges. And without a fog badge. Manelash not willing to do Morty right now. We'll see.
Because all the items have cut in Lake of Rage as well, right?
Right, too. No, we do have those 3 in addition. Yeah, you're right. I tend to forget about those early since we usually don't, or we not always have cut access at this point without having.
Just very painful to actually have them without fly. As if there is something right at the end, having to traverse back from it.
Oh, there's Earth badge, so badge number 6. But yeah, I mean, they are absolutely in logic for either part of fly. So it could just absolutely lead us to over there. Alakazam still doing its best to try and learn any physical moves that can get its hold off. Although Body Slam is one of the better ones.
We've got a great physical moveset being set up here, but both trainers are choosing not to use a physical Pokemon, so...
I mean, Tentacruel is not that much of a special attack either. I want to say it's actually slightly strong on the physical side, but given its water type, Step Surf does a lot. And Thunderbolt is just so good a move that you don't really not want to use it.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, Morty not required for items, and meanwhile Manelash finding the coin case, but there's the Rising badge. And,
which puts Morty as definitely not required, because that is 7 badges, right? Yep, there we go, there's the call.
And it also unlocks the last item on Professor Elm, which also would be eligible for any of the fly parts, so
yay!
Huh. All the fun things. Yeah, Waka will be also heading back for Ekrotik. Will be heading over for Lake of Rage. Will only be able to get up to 6 badges, so will not even be able to check out west of Mahogany now, which Manelash has access to, and I think you probably would want to take a peek at least on Route 44 to see if you can maybe find something that could tell you where Surf can or where Fly can or cannot be, but no, Manelash not interested.
Hoping on the strength before going into Ice Path at all, most likely.
Probably. Important to note that Fly or Storm Edge cannot be east of Mahogany, so Manelash will always be able to find both Storm Edge and HMO2 or any items that lead to one of those before he has to go on that route and find whatever is on there. So definitely a reasonable option to say, well, might just turn around. I will probably have to anyway. Radio Tower is unlocked. And just do that. I mean, the point or the thing with that is just Radio Tower in itself only has 5 items for us right now. So it isn't really the most dense check that we can go to. The other side, the backtrack for the Rising badge doesn't really get better either unless you find strength. So yeah, maybe not too much reason to go there, but I mean, if strength is on Route 44, you could have reasonably just taken the tour through all of that, turn in the Rising badge, and just take normal way back. It wouldn't really lose you too much time. It might even save you a bit depending on what you find there, because if you find Basement Key, for example, and you can just do that with the Radio Tower on the first trip, that could have been an advantage.
course, the other problem is there are still 3 Kanto leaders that might be locking our progress as well.
Absolutely. And there's just the... there's even both items on Route 25 either that could be that. So yeah, we do have a bit open there where options could be. Which might actually be more reason to just take a peek at Route 44 and maybe even Ice Path, just to see if strength may be hidden in there. Because if you don't now, when will you ever? Unless you find both parts of Fly, which could be extremely painful. Yeah, Manelash not willing to skip Morty, since Morty still has 2 items, and yeah, given that we were just talking about how little options we actually do really have left, definitely reasonable. Also, good way to get some more experience on the Tentacruel before hitting Radio Tower. I just remember race from yesterday where the early Radio Tower within maybe yesterday or the day before that, or there was definitely level 36 Charizard that was an absolute nightmare for I believe Prison was it at that point. After an real nightmare of an early game there. I think it was Prism versus or Javits Prism versus Prism Zeta. Whoever has not seen that race yet, you probably should check out the VOD. That was a race to watch. And, I know that we had some good races to watch already, but I mean that one was special in every bad way of the meaning. Manelash done with Morty. It's like we are about to head back for Radio Tower. I can't imagine Manelash going for Kanto leaders right now. The level curve on the Radio Tower is just nicer. So... yeah, Manelash also being able to buy Rock Smash at this point. Actually, I don't think we saw Dark Cave yet, right?
That's true.
There are 4 more items over there that could be our progress. Yeah, Manelash going straight into Radio Tower. Makes sense why he's here. Did not have the option to go into Dark Cave until he bought Rock Smash right now. The last item for Waka in here will now be also forced back to... Well, apparently not. Here's one more. Yeah, will be forced to take a backtrack here. I think at this point we are most likely going to see the Dark Cave items first. Nope, that's the Death Orb. Potentially. Not sure that was intended given that Waka was using Fire Blast here. Or maybe it was. Back to Azalea. Third try against Bugsy. Okay, yeah. Maybe this is bothering Waka more than it was me. Since we already know that there's nothing here. But there's no way for Waka to know that. But yeah, this time the Alakazam should be coming out on top, right? 13 level
You would hope
advantage.
so. Being back in Azalea, they may head to Dark Cave afterwards.
I mean, they actually are now closer to Goldenrod than Dark Cave, I'd say. So you could maybe just say, well, do Radio Tower first. Which seems to be the case.
Yeah, true.
Like, if you would have gone back the normal way and would have been at the crossroads there on Route 37, you could have easily just taken a save there and then check out Dark Cave first, and if there's nothing, reset back and then go to Goldenrod, which would have saved you a bit of traveling. But this way, might as well just head over to Goldenrod, and from there, if there's nothing here, then either go into Kanto. The Alakazam could maybe actually do something in there at this point. Or go to Dark Cave from here. The way isn't really much longer than if you would go to Dark Cave first and then back to Goldenrod.
Whilst they've both already done it once, the backtracking through Union Cave can be a bit of a nightmare anyway because of all the positions of the spinners in there.
Especially going in reverse is not something you do that often, so you might not be as used to the timings and the positions there. Definitely have been caught by some optionals in there when I was going from Azalea back there. So, yeah. Something that you could be worried about. Oh, Dragonair having Boomerang is actually very bad for the Tentacruel. We spoke about it being not that easy to kill, but it has way more special defense than physical defense, and yeah, its ground type weakness is actually the one thing you can exploit very well if you want to deal with it. So yeah, this very fast Dragonair having Boomerang is actually a bit annoying. We also don't really have an ice move, so we can't really hit it too hard with the Tentacruel.
Since the Alakazam is relying on Blizzard and it has such low defense, it'll probably be an issue for them too. For that Alakazam.
Yeah, it definitely could be. For the Tentacruel, I was thinking about if it would have been maybe a reasonable idea to teach Step Sludge. Sludge is not a completely terrible move, and having a physical attack in there that would be able to hit those dragons could have been maybe pretty helpful for Manelash there. It's not Sludge Bomb, so you're definitely not as eager to do it. Definitely isn't that strong of a move, but yeah, still getting the stab attack in there could be helpful. And yeah, Waka breezing through this radio tower. To now.
Radio tower another bust. So that leaves the Kanto stuff, Dark Cave, and the Rising Badge check, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right. We don't really have anything else available in Johto right now. Well, we do have, but Route 44 is not where we were supposed to find Fly or Storm Badge yet, so there's no pressing need to go there right now. Like if something like a Fog Badge or Strength would be on there, definitely could be very helpful to get that first before maybe going into Kanto where you could use that. But like if we were sticking to Fly logic, yeah, Route 44 would be not one of our available options. Manelash looks like he is going for Route 44 without even... well, no. Rock Smash item here first in Bird Tower.
If he's thinking Rock Smash, he may have just remembered this item over here as well, since he didn't earlier on get Rock Smash after using the Squirt Bottle.
Yeah. Still would have probably been better to check Dark Wave out first, since now you would have take away back there and then back for 44. So this might be indicating Manelash not worrying about Route 44 at this moment. Just wants to track down the Rock Smash checks since they are Fly logic, and then probably head back into Kanto. The Tentacruel at this point also got high enough in levels that you could reasonably hope to set up on something. I'm wondering if both runners are thinking about an potentially earlier Route 25 play, since that will give them a lot of experience for their mains, and both should probably be fine for that at this point. And we do have both items up there in logic, so or available, so it's more attractive than other times. We'll have to see what our runners are intending to do. Probably want that candy.
There's some items in the game because your default is to run away from an item once you pick it up. Obviously here there wasn't a barrier ledge directly after it, but it's like ice path items once you've slid away. It's like turning around to get them can be questionable.
And nothing important in Dark Cave. Let's see what 46 has to offer. That's the Storm Badge that we were spoken about. So yeah, unfortunately Manelash has to either take a Death Warp here or do the long loop around back.
I'd still say it's an odd choice here not to save and check that Rising Badge though.
I mean, at this point you might as well just check it anyway, and yeah, this trainer has so low levels. This might have just been a messed up movement.
Yeah, true.
To Death Warp. But yeah, you have to take this back track anyway towards north, so might as well check the Rising Badge. What are the chances to get actually Fly here? Nope.
I remember in my last race match I went completely out of logic and forgot to save after one of the items when assuming a Death Warp, and that just caused all sorts of problems later because I thought I still had the item, and just because I wanted to Death Warp to a higher level trainer than where I would have been otherwise, which probably didn't help in the long run.
Yeah, you have to be mindful of which Death Warps and save resets you take. If you just mess that up, you can lose way more time than you might even save with those. But they are definitely a good tool of saving some of the more annoying traveling parts and saving you quite a bit of time if used correctly.
At least both runners remembered to go to Dark Cave before heading back to Kanto, so they now have that Storm Badge.
Yeah. Now, that still doesn't really help us in the long run in any way, since Starnbatch does allow us the ability to fly, but that does not open up any more checks. So, yeah, while we're definitely happy to have found that, we need that at some point, and fly is always better earlier than later, or almost always. Yeah. We do still need to find some other form of progress at some point, and we don't really have too much options for that left at this point, but both runners seem to be intending to hunt down that fly for now, and not take the detour for Route 44, which would absolutely be in logic for all of our other progress except for that HMO2, which really doesn't do anything else for us than being able to move around the map faster. Manelash going to grab the leftovers. And not to Eric. Oh, is going into Erica immediately. That's that is no. Oh,
Or not.
Deciding, well, Erica is actually maybe the hardest of the available leaders right now. Going into the store first, probably want to have some more X items or healing items before going in there. Maybe be the consideration here. We do have good amount of money. Buy a few revives. Yup. Hyper potions. Check out the TMs. We do need to know that there's a Razor Leaf. There was a Vine Whip. But yeah, the TMs didn't really look too helpful. And looks like we're about to head to Janine first instead, which is definitely the easiest Kanto leader available to us right now. Waka already over there.
I think the easiest in general, technically, as well.
Yeah. Right? It's not the scariest, and especially not with Twister. It does have decent attack and defense, so with an Alakazam you might not want to set up too much on that either, but yeah, getting a special in there, hitting the Blizzard, pretty good here. This Janine is not very scary. And yeah, that's absolutely fitting for the end there. Level 39 Magikarp, and we do get some max items out there, but no immediate progress. Tentacruel should have no troubles either. The Jolteon could be potentially scary if it would have had a stab move. Does not look like it. Test Rest though, where
just trolling along.
Tentacruel's lack of offensive coming a bit into play here. But yeah, nope. Route 15 wasn't the answer. And Waka going to take the cycling road back. Important to note here, Waka has already done Route 12 and Rock Tunnel, so there's no much point for him to go up there right now with not being able to turn in the machine part either. So yeah, while you could just reasonably take the way throughout Route 14, 13 back up, there's really not much checks left on that way either, if any at all actually, because both of them have done Rock Tunnel and had to for the squad battle earlier. And yeah, without Surf we don't have access to the power plant, we cannot check the last item on Route 12 yet, and we would have had to fight at way out and trainer out of Route 8 anyway, so might as well take this one fight here and take the trap back up Cycling Road. Or take the Death Warp like Manelash is intending to, although being at level 37 does make that not as easy anymore. Especially not if the leftovers are still attached. Seems like Manelash has abandoned the consideration of trying a Death Warp here and is probably just taking the turn back. And I mean, the experience here is also pretty nice to... Oh no, really attaching the Amulet coin. So Manelash is intending to go for the Death Warp here. I don't like it as much, although the Dragonite might actually be able to do it, so if it does not minimize. Bind is also not the best way for it. This is a pain. Try attack helps.
If you're gonna get a status, may as well get it now.
Oh yeah, Waka meanwhile just took the Cycling Road back up and headed to Erica that way. Which I think is definitely reasonable at this point, given that Erica's just in logic. By this point you are probably okay to try her. And yeah. With the center being in Saffron, I'm not sure this prolonged attempt at the Death Warp was really that worth it. But also having to reattach the leftovers again. So there's a lot of time that went into this Death Warp that you could have also just probably taken to just go up Cycling Road again. Okay. Weekly Tough is actually not the best thing you want to see there, and the Icy Wind speed drop is not good for Alakazam, but Weekly Tough fortunately also not the strongest, but Dig is annoying, because that can actually hurt Alakazam more than Icy Wind. No.
Luckily, it is a Wigglytuff.
Yep. Sacred Fire.
This is where we see a Blissey. Immediate. Oh, I'm not sure that would have meant anything here. But...
It's close to it. It also has Dig apparently, but Sacred Fire in that sense is actually somewhat interesting because the burn coming in here very handy. But yeah. Sacred Fire with the 50% burn chance, getting that burn and the extra damage in from that does not make having a physical move for Chances and Blissey's that necessary anymore for Alakazam because it doesn't really because Alakazam is also not really able to use them that well either. So at that point, might as well force your way through with special types attacks. Tentacruel also getting a lot of levels here. To getting the burn feint from the Snorlax.
That's the main issue with the Black-White experience curve, when you have an unfortunate Pokemon that just takes a hit, and then it kills itself with recoil without dying or such, with burn in this case.
Alakazam now back in business. The two remaining Pokemon for Erica are not the problem, and there's a Boulder Badge, which we do need, but it doesn't really help much in the immediate future. And it's also not Fly, so yeah.
Both runners are back to being completely neck and neck as well.
Yep. We do have still... I don't think either runner has touched Vermilion yet, interestingly enough. So there should be 2 checks over there. We do have Sabrina in Logic, but it seems like Waka is heading straight for Route 25 next. Which is definitely nicer for him. Alakazam trying Sabrina with that might still be iffy. The level difference at this point still can kick in. The Tentacruel is a bit higher in level already and is much harder to kill immediately, so Manelash probably in a better position to take on Sabrina directly. So yeah, I think both runners doing what for their respective mains is probably the reasonable choice to do. Hitmonchan having a lot of special defense, so even Step Surf doing not that much damage to it. Yeah, Ferris just rolls over from Fire Blast. Yeah, that wasn't a very bad Sabrina. And there's Fly!
And there's Fly.
Yeah, this might be interesting because Manelash might not be as interested in Route 25 anymore all of a sudden, because now Route 44 is maybe the best option available for both. So this could potentially be pretty bad for Manelash if there's something important that we don't need very soon is on Route 25.
Inverse is also true, so if something is really important on Route 25, then Manelash won't get them, but inversely, if there is something good there, then Manelash, so then Waka won't go to Sabrina yet, potentially, and will go off to do surf checks or something, potentially.
I mean, at this point, I don't think Waka would be putting off Sabrina if he does find something in here, given that his fly logic is still so limited and Sabrina is one fully in logic and very close to whatever Waka is doing next without fly. So he will pass her anyway, and at that point might as well give it a try and see if the Alakazam can go through there. Inversely, if there's something good here on Route 25, that's our immediate progression, Manelash will just be forced back to there. There was nothing east of Mahogany. So, yeah. Either we do go towards Vermilion now and do Search, or we just go for Route 25. Because we don't really have anything else left. Yep, and that looks like 25.
Distraction, but without fly, probably safe.
I mean, Basement Key is at least something that opens up more checks and is very likely where our next progress is going to be. Given that we do now have 7 more items available than just Search. Yeah, I can't imagine Waka not doing Sabrina at this point with how little there's left. Again, he's just getting no, he's just passing her by anyway. It's really not too much of a stretch to just take a slight step to the right here. Heal first, give it an attempt or two, see if you can get through there easily. Which he probably should. That Sabrina didn't seem to be the scariest. Yeah. We set up a next egg. Okay, setting a special. Not sure if he did buy much XX, but Sacred Fire having 95 accuracy is actually not too terrible for that. Okay, the Hitmonchan could be annoying, but it doesn't really have the offense. And I think that should have been Sacred Fire, but maybe not wanting to take the risk there and surviving at 1. So yeah, Waka getting his fly, although it was slightly scary. And now, I don't know. Waka might just do the basement anyway here first, since he can just pretty much full clear Goldenrod at this point. For him, there's not much reason to go to Route 44 first, since he can just find strength in here.
Especially with there being nothing in Radio Tower, you'd want to go straight to basement just to try and make up for the lost time earlier, as it were.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you would consider it really lost time in the sense that given where the progress were, it's just very likely that your opponent will have done it too, so you both have lost the same amount of time there probably, or a similar one at least. It could have been maybe a slight worry about Morty, but then again, given that the actual progress was on Route 25, with Fly being hidden behind Rock Smash and behind Sabrina, I think you're not expecting your opponent to have skipped much up until this point either. Maybe the backtrack towards Elm or one of the backtracks could have been skipped, so your opponent might have a minute or two on you, but you're probably not worried too much about that at this point. The big worry will come in once you actually find Fog Badge at some point and the whole map lights up green. Because at that point, if you go to the one direction and the badges are in the other one, then you might lose a lot of time that your opponent might never spend. But we also do need to find 7 more badges and 2 more Pokegear parts. There's still a lot of things we need before we can finish out this race. Which, given that we are already 1 hour and 20 minutes into the game, we have definitely not as much as in other races we've seen so far. There was the SS ticket right now. That's an additional check, but not much else at this point, since we do have already full Johto access. But yeah, that's strength.
There's strength.
That is our needed progression. So we do now have the strength checks and mortar available to us.
And
there's the progress.
Suddenly we have basically the whole map.
Yep. With the exception of West Kanto, we can now pretty much do anything aside from a few single one-off checks. I guess we don't really have World Islands access yet either, but
or indeed Dragon's Den. The second half of.
I mean, we've seen Whirlpool being in the first 2 items of Dragon's Den more than we would have liked in this tournament already, so it's not something you can be safe of. So you still need to consider that at some point, but yeah, for now we do have I think at least half an hour worth of stuff of checking. Available to us with just those 2 finds. Waka going for Burn Tower first, Manelash instead heading for the item before Softs and Goals. Just a Thunder Punch TM, unfortunately not really helpful given that the move tutor has just a straight up better version of it. Doing Softs and Goals. That going for the Violet checks items, Violet surf items on Manelash. Meanwhile, Waka going into the strength section of Mount Mortar.
At this stage, like you said when we were talking about it earlier, at this stage everyone's just going to divert off into. Eventually, they may go to the same place at the same time, but for the most part, they're just going to go off in different directions now, just trying to find whichever, and that will give them the lead briefly, at least.
Yeah, I mean, there are just so many options that you can choose from, and they all have their ups and downsides. Waka here going for the strength section first might have wanted to go for the surf section first, just in case Waterfall is over here. Radio Card is before Mount Mortar. But yeah, if he would have found Waterfall in here, then he wouldn't have need to go into the strength check section alone. He could have just reached from the Waterfall section and save some time there. Inversely, if Waterfall would have been in the strength section, then he would have had to take a second trip towards the surf entrance. So there's a lot of ups and downsides to various checks. Manelash is going to hit the road over to Ice Path and Necrotique. Meanwhile, we could have also seen someone going into Rocket Hideout. Manelash has decided to check out the shiny for now, but or did he actually do the shiny? Well, Marsh Badge at least, and not Mortar.
It was a shiny dugong, so definitely checked out the shiny.
Yeah, this is a single check that's pretty quick, and you set up the mahogany for later. But going towards Blackthorn first, definitely reasonable. No fights on this path. A lot of items there. Yeah, we did see Mount Mortar having one of our remaining badges. We did see the radio card, so 2 necessary items over there. For Manelash, if he is able to find Waterfall over here before heading that way, he will be able to get those in combination with a few additional checks that Waka had no access to yet. So we'll see if that will come into play. Looks like Waka's now also going to head over to Blackthorn. Has not been on Route 44 yet either, so yeah. Is saving a trip over here is getting these items a bit more efficient.
I don't know what it is about the mahogany base, but it just seems all or nothing. It seems to be a thing I've seen a lot of people just skip bothering to do the whole thing until late game. I've seen it come through as having nothing until the last item. I've seen it come through as having, absolutely nothing half of the time, and it's just, with all the items that are in it, it seems so strange that people put it off so often.
There is a lot of items in there, but it takes also a lot of time to get all of those, especially the last 4 if you consider the lance item and then the gym and the sludge bomb TM afterwards. They take so much additional time to just get those items that runners might want to find reasons to not have to invest this much time in finding a lot of useless items. At this point, given with how much we still need to find, we're probably going to be doing it sooner than later, since it just has so many items that there's going to be something in there most of the time. But yeah. I mean, the way over to Blackthorn, or the way over Blackthorn, Ice Path, all of that has a similar amount of the items towards the hideout, and it doesn't take as much time, given that there's no fighting that you do need in between. You do get some more fly points out of it, so definitely can see runners going to do this first. Then what we see Manelash do is we do have some of the quick one-off checks that you can pretty much do at any time with the Violet Surf checks, the Cherry Grove Surf check. They're just so quick for 1 or 2 items. You just do them at some point. And what Manelash is doing here now, doing Slowpoke well for the Secret Potion. We do have Union Basement for 2 items and the Waterstone and Flash Chambers. That's also 12 items or so. So yeah. All of these items not requiring any fights, they are in comparison just so much faster than the hideout, which is the reason a lot of runners might want to hope to put off the hideout if they don't have to do it. We're also getting access to the hideout so late into the game that our mains are already high enough in level that we don't strictly need the experience in the immediate future, or even at all. So yeah, lots of reasons why the hideout simply isn't just as attractive as many of the other options we have available right now. But I definitely expect to see both of them in there once our options are getting less attractive.
If nothing else, during this tournament, just watching these games and the commentary and playing the ROMs myself as well, just shows how much that nuance there actually is to this as well.
I mean, you can just go through the game and full clear everything and have a reasonably good time in there, but that won't necessarily win you races.
I can vouch for that.
There's definitely on the higher ends of the competition here a lot of nuance and very many decisions that you make. For example, we now just got Whirlpool out of here. We do now have an entire Cyanwood and Wall Island section that we could worry about. We could do Claire now, so that these are all options. And yeah, I mean, Claire is also one of these options that runners might either put off or maybe do pretty early, because they know many runners like to put it off very long. Claire has 5 items in this mode, so isn't unreasonable to expect something in there. And if you find there an important badge in there early, this might be the advantage there, where your opponent will be searching for that in the end for a long time, and you don't have to. Yeah, Manelash is now going for the hideout even before going into Wall Island. Going to buy some super repels while he's here. One upside of having actually done the radio tower before this, the second shop is available here, which has super repels.
That shop causes a lot of confusion for newer players to shop Sanity as well.
Yep.
Because it just doesn't logically make any sense that defeating the radio tower rockets makes that shop appear rather than defeating the rockets in the location you're currently in. It's one of those things you need to get used to, but obviously it doesn't have much impact for the extreme level races that we're currently seeing, of course. But
I mean, it's still an interesting quirk of logic to know, simply because it's a shop that has super repels, and yeah, if you get access to super repels early but don't have that much money, you might have to rebuy them at some point, and especially if you don't have fly, knowing which shops where do have super or max repels can be pretty important for your routing as well. So
yeah, I had that problem when I started doing runs after doing basically exclusively shop Sanity. I had no idea where sold super repels or max repels at all.
And I mean, you can just rely on normal repels, but having that pop up if you want to renew your repel twice as much as on super repels, or even more on max repels, is going to slow you down considerably in the long run. Waka cleaning up some of these surf checks. Looks like we actually will be seeing Wall Islands from Waka here first. Oh, turning in the secret potion first. We did find that in Slowpoke well right now, or very recently for both runners. They do have it. It is 2 additional items here. But yeah, this is actually a check that it's not too long, but it's also not one of those checks you necessarily see before the hideout always. So yeah, seems like Waka actually wants to actively try and avoid the hideout here for a bit.
It's probably one of those instances of, well, I'm going to go to Wall Island, so I may as well do everything else in the place I'm in before I go there. Although we don't know whether that'll happen if they head over to Cyanwood and whether they'll do Chuck or not.
I mean, the trip to Jasmine is so out of the way with Fly. You cannot really consider it on the way to World Islands at all, since you just go simply straight up different directions from the Pokemon Center anyway. So it's more of an check that's on itself, but on the tracker it's just also in this area, so they might be worrying about this. I just did look away. Was it waterfall for Manelash there, or was it just a TM? Seems like it actually was waterfall that is in the hideout.
I was reading chat trying to work out at what point I missed the secret potion for marking purposes.
It was in Slowpoke Well, the item from the guy. Be sure the King's Rock check.
They've both gone there as well, right? So I've marked that now.
Both have that. But yeah, waterfall in the rocket hideout. Actually good for Manelash in the sense that he will now be able to check the entirety of Mount Mortar in one go and find his Marsh Badge and radio card that way. And will get into additional checks in there that Waka might have to return for later. But so far, I think nothing else in hideout yet. There's the Pokedex.
Yay, the menu is ruined.
Yeah. Waka doing the first section flashless because the movement is pretty simple. You can just rely on audio cues, go in straight lines until you bonk and you won't miss. So yeah. Doesn't really save you that much time to have visions for that. If you just need to go into the menu, open the Pokemon and select Flash in the first place. You can just go there anyway. But yeah, for this later checks, having Flash with the complicated movement you have to make definitely will be saving that time. But not very much in World Island so far. To have 2 more items left here. But taking the exit point to be able to go over to Signboard a bit quicker here. Can do this last section pretty good in dark again, given that the item will also give you some sort of orientation. There's a mineral badge, so at least one thing in here that we need to find. Well, we do get the candy from Lance for our troubles.
Could be worse, but that obviously leaves only 3 items behind clearing it out. But Waterfall is currently the only thing we've seen, I think, from Rocket Hideout.
I think so, yes. Which could be an interesting case if Waka is really determined to put off the hideout for even longer. He has some options for that available. He could now just fully do clear with the Whirlpool. But yeah, if Waka is going into the hideout and finds the waterfall and does not find anything else until he would need to fight the electrodes, we could potentially see an skip of the rest of the 4 checks here from Waka and just heading straight over towards Mount Mortar in hopes to find the last item needed or something like that. Because Price did not have it. See if the TM36 will be something necessary. Nope.
Nothing today.
So really just that waterfall. Which might be interesting since we don't have expansion card yet, and waterfall does also give us access to Victory Road, so including E4, there can just be our West Kanto access hidden over there, for all we know. We have to see how this is going to play out, but yeah, Manelash getting radio card, getting Marsh Badge in here soon, and then we will be seeing 9 more checks that we did not see yet from Waka, in addition to the 4 strength checks that we have seen earlier.
Expansion card on Chuck, so Chuck decides he wants to be required. Would not surprise me if Waka now just heads straight over. Oh,
well,
options galore happening.
Yeah, Rainbow Wing now opening up Tin Tower 2, and suddenly we are only 4 badges away. Unfortunately, all of them Kanto badges, so they could be literally anywhere, except for Mount Silver.
I believe that is full map access now as well. We have every HM between the 2 runners as well, so everywhere is now accessible.
We do have the boat ticket. The only check that we are not able to do is the lost items, since we did not find that yet. Chikorita is the Snorlax. Could have been potentially a consideration for Waka to catch as a backup in case there's something bad for the Alakazam. Oh, hello, Cascade Badge. Although another Megahorn Heracross would be probably a big problem for Meganium as well. So maybe not the best backup out there. But yeah, I mean, this Alakazam at this point being still in the low 40s, I believe. If we were to find the last 3 badges in very quick succession now, there could be definitely some problems on red. We do have the Sleep TM. Waka definitely did buy it. I'm not sure we fully did take notice of what it actually was. It's not Spore, so there's a chance that it could miss, even if Alakazam outspeeds. But
well, since the Alakazam also has Blizzard and Sacred Fire to some extent, it wouldn't surprise me if they were to buy or use an X accuracy in the fight as well to make that consistent.
The big problem with that is, though, if you're not able to outspeed despite being an Alakazam, then it's not that likely that you will be able to set up the X accuracy and live to get the Spore in that point. Since, if Red can kill you, he will attempt to do so.
What we're seeing from Manelash here is only the Silver Wing behind Waterfall. So Rocket Base not required, as far as I can tell from this, but could be a useful thing on the 60. Is the only thing you can really hope from their perspective right now.
Yeah. That could be a considerable detriment to Manelash here, because if Waka is never tempted to go into the hideout at this point, which is still a bit of a stretch given that we still need to find 3 more items and our options are not too plentiful after doing Tin Tower also. It might not be that easy for Waka to have that happen, but yeah. Why the level 60 access for Manelash is probably a good thing, because his Tentacruel, it probably can do the job, but it's not the best to do it. Having the option for the level 60 available as an upgrade is pretty good. Yeah, and I actually agree with this somewhat here for Waka. Getting the accuracy of Aurora Beam over the potential mischance from Blizzard while you have Sacred Fire is probably reasonable to do.
Aurora Beam has also got quite a lot of PP for the type of move that it is as well.
Yeah. Although at this point you're not as worried about PP anymore, since the amount of fights, aside from the rocket hideout, that you have to do is getting less. I mean, they're still clear, I guess. There's some reasonable amount of fighting left to it, but aside from that, Waka has mostly one of gym leaders left where you could reasonably just take an elixir and be fine. Yeah, looks like Manelash is also going over to Wall Islands now. Will be interesting to see if he actually decides to check out the level 60. Would be important if he decides to do Chuck, because he does need the expansion card at some point. Yep, Waka going into Tin Tower. Given his avoidance of the hideout so far, it absolutely makes sense to prioritize this. Again, it has a similar amount of items in there, and has a bit of a less fighting to it. You front load the fighting a bit more. Oh,
well, I guess we'll get to see what it is.
Missing the first Sacred Fire and then getting frozen, but Sacred Fire immediately defrosting him because it's Sacred Fire.
Level 60 Gyarados is probably not the worst thing in the world.
No, it actually isn't. We do have Surf and we do have a good selection of physical TMs that we can teach. Gyarados is a physical attacker, so you definitely
Agility is quite useful too. I don't know how useful, but somewhat useful.
You definitely can make use of this, and probably better than the Tentacruel given the level advantage. So,
what TMs do we currently have? I believe we have Rock Slide, Shadow Ball, Surf, obviously.
I think we do still.
I think we have a Flying move, right?
Well, technically we have Fly, but we don't have a Wing Attack or Drill Peck, which were the ones we would have. You could also teach Sketch and hope to find something. I've seen Drill Peck somewhere. I mean, with Sky Attack technically, but don't really want to rely on 2-turn moves. Suicune was a Dodrio, so that would have been also a reasonable main option if we would have been wanting to go that route. With the Clear Bell as early accessible as it actually was, we could have actually tried and force our way to the Suicune if we wanted to. But yeah, given that Waka had the Alakazam and was able to use it very well, there was not much point to it. Manelash seemed also happy enough with the Tentacruel. And you would have had to get through the Sages at first anyway, which is not that easy. There's a Thunder Badge. So yeah, only 2 more to go for Waka, and the hideout skip coming more and more feasible. Second Sketch TM, the property of TM47 being in the pool twice. Which is actually not a bad thing sometimes to have Sketch available 2 times, but the big problem, especially for Alakazam, to be able to sketch something means that you need to get hit by the attack and then still live, which is not what you really want to do, ideally, since you want to just defeat the Pokemon anyways. At this point, sketch really is not the most helpful thing anymore. We do have a good move set without it. Like the only thing we could really hope for Waka would be an Ice Punch or Ice Beam.
Well, or Psychic, of course.
Yeah, true. Even Psybeam would be probably pretty good, but you would need to teach Sketch over something first, then actually encounter one of those moves, let them be used against you, and then be able to sketch off of them. So it's a lot of investment for very negligible reward at this point. Gyarados could maybe, if you don't really want to keep agility, try and attempt to fish for something like Wing Attack or Drill Peck ideally, but again, you don't really want to get hit by anything at this point anymore. You just want to defeat. And Shadow Ball and Rock Slide in combination with Surf do their work just fine. Okay, nothing in the whole chamber, nothing else than the Thunder Badge and Tin Tower, from what I could see. As Manelash did get Rainbow Wing and expansion card. So, yeah. Manelash now has accessibility to the Cascade Badge and the Thunder Badge. Just needs to go over there at some point. But still no Soul Badge or Volcano Badge seen so far. And we do have... Oh, right. Manelash on the way to West Kanto will be getting his Cascade Badge very soon. Meanwhile, Waka going to turn the machine part. Will net us 4 immediate checks and the ability to fight Misty if we want to.
Route 25 already dealt with, may as well fight Misty as well as part of the whole progression.
It is a slight detour, so Misty is not as immediate as the other 4 checks are, where you just basically have to quickly fly over them, take a few steps, and then have to check there. And it is also a gym fight, so Waka might hold off on that. But on the other side, it's just a one-off at this point, where you are getting low in other options. Going to check out the last item on Route 12. Does not find anything in here. And is now going to check out Misty's gym. Let's see if he's taken this opportunity to actually go and fight Misty, or if he's just doing the other quicker checks first. No, is going to take the fight to Misty. Not even checking the item in the gym right now, just unlocking the cutscene so Misty's actually there, and then return to check Misty and the item at the same time. Which is reasonable given that he still needs 2 more checks, 2 more badges to find.
Yeah, once you're down to that 1 remaining item, you may as well check all of the fastest items as quick as possible, because when you've got multiple things left, doing more items is better, but when you've only got 1 left, it's quite different, I feel.
And there's definitely a consideration to make where you say, well, if you just find the 1 item on that 1 check, you don't really need to take a minute to save potentially 2 seconds or a few seconds afterward if they both don't have anything. So that's a trade-off that you might have to think about at that point, but if you are going to do both checks either way, since you still need two badges, then Yep, might just as well do it more efficiently. Oh, there's Blissey. Yep, trying to go the Sacred Fire Burn in and crit outrage hurting. Here the big point why with having Sacred Fire, not having a physical form Blissey is not as bad for Alakazam. The burn damage will just do its part. And the physical move really does not help you outside of exactly Blissey or Chansey as an Alakazam. Waka going to complete Vermilion.
And potentially do the SS ticket check after that as well.
Yeah. Reasonable consideration. Yeah, Waka seems absolutely willing to put out the hideout entirely at this point. Now that we are going to see some of the more annoying checks in the machine part quest, doing Route 25, doing search, and even then the boat, they are somewhat slow checks. I would expect Waka to actually head into Claire first before going into the hideout at this point, because with having put off the hideout as long as Waka did, if there are actually the both remaining badges in there, it's just very reasonable your opponent did that earlier, got them already, and will be winning the Strias anyway, which might not be the case strictly here, since Manelash still would need to do the entire 10 tower until then. But Waka has no way of knowing that Manelash did the entire hideout for nothing and lost time to that.
Nothing on Surge, nothing in the Rocket Hideout that we've been talking about, and nothing on Waterfall as well, which is, it's really annoying when you're playing one of these and you get something like that where you're like, you find one item, so you go, oh, I'll go and do that, and then that can go on and on as well sometimes. When it leads to nothing, I know how that can feel in the psyche.
Yep. Waka is actually going into the hideout now. I mean, with what Waka has done so far, Tin Tower having a badge, Alden having a badge, a lot of the detours that Waka took actually had something which requires Manelash to do them also. So if he goes into hideout now before he does any of the absolutely terrible checks, and there's one badge in here, it's not too big of a problem. This will give Manelash a good amount of time back here to potentially go in there, and if Manelash is able to save out on the machine power checks, can save up some time again. And as mentioned earlier, by this point, Waka having only 2 items left to find, or 2 badges left to find, Waka might just leave here with Waterfall and not do the last 4 checks. So, yeah. Waka going in here definitely giving Manelash a bit of a chance here, but Waka still has a considerable advantage of checks done over Manelash at this point, I'd say. So, it's not that easy for Manelash to capitalize on this chance without having the knowledge. There's the Thunder Badge for Manelash, so only 2 more fine for him either. for Manelash, there's still the whole chamber to be done after this, so it is a bit of time that he still needs to spend collecting all these checks. And the important hunt for the last badges begins after that, probably. We did not see much of West Canto yet. Claire is an option. There's still Soft Sand Girls that neither run has done.
And of course, the dreaded 2 items locked behind Elite Four.
Yep, they are an option. And obviously Manelash still has some Kanto leaders left to do, and the machine part checks where he can spend the time that Waka already has done. And I guess we did not see the boat. So that's option as well. That's open as well. I don't quite remember where the ticket was and if Manelash should have it by this point already.
Very good point. I can't remember. I clearly haven't tracked it, but I can't remember.
I definitely know that Waka found it first, and in a spot where Manelash wasn't going to head to immediately, but I don't remember where that was. Might have actually been in the Mount Mortar Strength section, I'm not sure. I want to say it was alongside some other checks where it didn't really do much on its own. Could have also been in basement, somewhere around that, yeah. I'm somewhat sure he probably should have it at this point, and if Ergtoy is right and he has marked it on his own stream, there's not much reason to doubt that. But yeah, Manelash is turning in the machine part. And don't think Waka did fully complete the hideout here.
For all of the trainers, but then decided to leave after fighting and opening the door with the Mercro password. No. So they only have to go in and do those checks. They haven't done a full ERC skip, but they have done partial. So the 4 items locked behind that still.
Yeah, with biking indoors and the animation skips that are in since the last tournament, it's definitely way more reasonable to do it this way. You don't really lose as much time going for it. And yeah, it also makes your way back into those 4 checks much easier. Since you are saving that backtrack anyway, just do it from the front, really, from the other side, so you don't really lose that much time not doing it, unless there's something important behind those checks. Oh yeah, work about to be done with the Mount Mortar waterfall section. Manelash is going to spend the time doing the machine part checks, and we are pretty close together at this point. Manelash might not fight Misty. He is fighting Misty. Check an item first. But yeah, I'd say overall advantage here on Waka's side. Red can be still difference maker here, given that we have an not that high level LXM yet versus on Gyarados from Lugaspot and Waka is going back for the 4 checks in here before going to Claire. Was just wanting to check out Waterfall before this, since Waterfall has more items than the 4 items in here. Yeah. Again, really not that much time lost, if any at all, for Waka here doing it this way. Level 55 Alakazam isn't that low level anymore, I guess, so... unless there's some Mega Horn leads on Red's Alakazam, probably should be fine, especially given that we do have the Sleep move available.
Alakazam's speed is by far the advantage there.
Yeah. I mean, given the stat XP and the general speed of Alakazam at this level, there's really not much that will outspeed this Alakazam even at level 81. So yeah, we'll definitely have the shot of getting the sleep move in there first. Then when Red is going to set up, going to use the full restore, can set up the X-Act to then guarantee being able to put the sleep move back on there again, and then set up freely as much as Waka deems it necessary to. Which Alakazam also doesn't really need that much, given its great initial special attack already. So there's really maybe just 3 specials at most that you really want to set up or need to set up. Maybe a speed to be safe against some electrodes. But yeah, there's not too much setup that you need to do, really. Our moveset is also pretty strong. Aurora Beam not the strongest, but we can work around that. The problematic dragons are able to be hit neutrally with Thunderbolt anyway.
If Red's lead is a strong, fast Pokemon with Thunderbolt and some like Mega Horn or strong physical move, then it could end up extremely close.
Oh, Manelash unfortunately messing up the boulder puzzle here on Claire's gym by wanting to be too efficient. We don't really see that often, that specific one being messed up, but does can happen if you want to be too perfect and yeah, want to save some fraction of seconds. If you mess it up, then you can lose way more than you actually might have saved. Yeah, Waka on the way to do Soft Sand Girls. Gets us pretty useless Thunder Punch TM. We will see an additional check here that we do not know of yet. Well, Manelash is going for Claire's gym. If there's something in here, or if it definitely could be that both badges are in here. This could be Manelash's chance to take the win here. The badge is here on Soft Sand Girls. This might actually be pretty bad for Manelash, since he was actively decided to skip them earlier. Which at this point, it's very unlikely that you return for them until almost towards the end. And we will see soon. One last trainer for both of them to fight to check their respective items.
There's one.
Yep, so Claire needs to be down at some point. So the big question is now, where's the soul badge? And it's not Soft Sand Girls. Yep. Waka following immediately behind Manelash here, so we'll be getting his Volcano Badge soon. Yeah, for now, Manelash actually does have a slight advantage here. There are 3 items left to check in here. Nothing from Claire herself. One last check in here.
And there it is.
Oh yeah, Manelash actually getting the advantage here by just willing to commit to the Dragon's Den check earlier than Waka was. So now it does come down to, is Red being able to deal with the Gyarados better than with the Alakazam? Manelash seems to buying some X items, given that he probably didn't buy any X attacks earlier. He needs to go back for those. Yep. Could have also done that in Violet, but at least as long as you know where I'm... Guess also in Blackthorn, now that I think about it. Is also teaching low kick for coverage. Okay, good that he remembered that one. I definitely forgot about that.
We've been so focused on all the special moves because most of the time that's what we've been seeing.
Yeah. If I were playing this, I would probably have been taken a bit more careful note about the low kick in there. But yeah. Usually that Thunderbolt definitely overshadows everything else that we've seen. Also teaching Sing, which was our sleep move.
Yeah, unfortunately that's not Lovely Kiss or Sleep Powder, but it can do the job for sure.
Okay, Manelash on Red. Let's see what Red is leading with. Nidoqueen is not the scariest mon. Setting up the X-Egg, bring in the sleep. Probably should have used an elixir if I saw that correct. Setting up 1 speed and then amount of X attacks. A Step Sludge could be potentially slightly scary for the Alakazam, although I would expect you probably at that point just try and surf if Sing doesn't really work. Yeah, no PP on Shadow Ball. That's why you use a Max Elixir before this fight, just so you don't run into this problem. There's the Soul Badge for Waka. Umbreon is annoying, because that's most likely living, except for we just critted. And low kick actually coming very handy in this fight. I think that was a Psych Up, but that doesn't really matter anymore. Manelash is through red and wins this race. In time of 2 hours, 14 minutes and 40 seconds. GG.
GG indeed.
Yeah. Unfortunate for Waka here, as we do have our winner of the race with us. GG Manelash.
Thank you. Hello.
Was an interesting seed.
Yeah.
What were going through your mind throughout the various stages? You started with the...
So I felt really behind it before getting fly because everything I did seemed pointless, like radio tower, board, lighthouse. But then where I found things where I saved, I wanted to save reset, and I just had to walk back, like pricing badge on cut and storm badge on there. So I wasn't really happy about that, but then finding fly made the seed much easier to play.
I mean, for the most part, especially very early on, you did somewhat force more or less the same stuff. There were some slight differences, given that Waka was able to find an Alakazam early on that had Bubble Beam and Icy Wind, which was kind of unfortunate against the Step Megahorn Heracross in Buxy's gym.
Oh my god, that's terrifying.
So Waka was somewhat forced to leave behind Buxy for now, and actually, even at the second attempt when he came back after doing Whitney and some of the early West Kanto stuff, wasn't able to get through. That was kind of unfortunate for Waka, but overall he didn't take as many early detours as you did, especially not going early for that red scale and stuff. But, also getting the pass from Whitney earlier, which you had to leave behind with the Azalea skip.
I was worried about literally that pass on Whitney. Like Squirrel Bottle was probably fine. I just could have up the Tentacruel, which thinking back I should have went to Cycling Road, but I was scared of like losing more time, finding like nothing. I already lost enough time at the start, like checking so many encounters and getting like pretty much nothing.
Though you, again, for the most part of the early game, you kinda did the similar things, or at the end almost did everything on both sides, because with how the items were laid out, getting to the basement key was not something you would really want to do early, and then having both Fog Badge and Strength being in there, so your map access was very limited, was really not that great. The difference there being you were slightly earlier to fly. Waka was committing to Route 25 a bit earlier than you to get levels on his Alakazam, which at that point you were just a little bit higher, so Sabrina was easier for you, I'd say, with the level 40. But again, up until that point you were somewhat close together, with Waka maybe having a little advantage, but it was pretty close. And then you both went off in in different directions because now the entire map was basically opened up, and for the longest time.
When did you get fly? When you beat Sabrina?
After doing Route 25, so
Okay.
say 2 minutes after you, 3
Uh,
maybe. It wasn't that long, but yeah, it was.
I thought it did the basement key before finding fly, which would like distracted me so much by Sabrina, because fly and surf and strength.
I mean, the problem with that is Waka, by that point, obviously had not the ability to fly anywhere. So with the basement key, he had to go back to Saffron anyway to get to Goldenrod. And by that point, after Route 25, as Alakazam got more levels out of that, so he gave it a shot, and he barely survived at 1 HP after a slight mistake there, but he got through his first attempt. So in the end, he did get it without losing too much to it, so, compared to you.
Okay.
The key difference was when you went to the Rocket Hideout, which Waka eventually did, but did it just before going to Dragon's Den. So while they were doing all the waterfall checks, you were obviously in Dragon's Den where the last 2 items were, but other than that, it was basically the same, apart from the odd, small check here and there.
Waka was a bit more throughout and did really try to put off the hideout for the longest time. So had the expansion card found before going into the hideout and done most of the West Kanto stuff before that. Even did Tin Tower and all of that before the hideout, but eventually went back in there and also completed all of them. Although he went out first after getting Waterfall and left behind Lance and the other 3 checks after him for a bit to check out Waterfall first. But yeah.
Okay.
In the end, it came down to Waka doing all of Search too, and doing Soft Sand Girls, and just doing a few more of those out of the way checks before committing to the den, while you went in there slightly earlier, and that gave you the time advantage. Also, maybe somewhat important to that is you found the Silver Wing before going into Wall Islands. Waka went into Wall Islands first. And yeah, subsequently Waka did struggle a bit with Alakazam on red. But yeah, we can ask Waka towards that directly now, because he also joined with us here. So GG Waka.
GG.
Finishing within time of 2 hours, 21 minutes and 19 seconds. But yeah, what was going through your mind, Waka, throughout this race?
Not much, to be fair. Just trying to be a bit efficient.
I mean, they are obviously we talked with Manelash about this already, but until Fog Badge and Strength were found in the basement, both of you did pretty much do everything up until this point in slightly different orders, given that you were forced off of Bugsy for a bit there, while Manelash just initially skipped Azalea straight out and had to leave behind Whitney for a bit. But
yeah, I was considering doing a main swap as well, but I didn't in the end.
And I mean, especially with the Thunderbolt of the move tutor, the Alakazam was just doing fine for the most part. But
if that wasn't there, I'd probably have just gone into Kanto and looked on Cycling Road, to be fair.
Yeah, by that point you still only had Bubble Beam and Ice, even though I guess you found Surf on at that point already, but still no water type coverage aside from Solar Beam, which was already giving you trouble against this Krabby.
Yeah.
That was a mean one. What was it? Glare, some sort of sleeping type move. Ice Beam freezing you on the very first hit.
Yeah.
That was something. But yeah.
Was indeed something.
But after that, Manelash got to fly a bit earlier than you. Decided to do Sabrina before going to 25. But up until that point again, you were doing everything on both sides for the most part.
Yeah.
Manelash did
I-
decide to run the Tentacruel from the start for the longest time, but yeah. Then the whole map opened up and you both went in different directions.
Yeah.
In the end, it came down to one Manelash actually found the Silverwing before heading over to Will Island, so he went over to get the Lugia, which was a Magikarp. So we had an Gyarados available with the Shadow Ball and Rock Slide TM and the low kick of the move to door, which made this red fight considerably easier.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
I've seen 3 out of the 4 moves, and all of them were physical.
Yep. Stab, Sludge, and Extreme Speed, both not good for Alakazam.
Even my sing accuracy was down to, I think, in the 20s maybe, if it's not in the 10s by now.
That extreme speed in your final red fight as well was painful after the Sing's problems as well.
Basically, any time I got hit, I knew I had to reset because of extreme speed.
Yeah. The difference in the end, though, is you were while you were trying to be efficient and put off the hideout for the longest time, you were not able to skip it entirely and not willing to commit to Claire early enough. Where Manelash did hide out very early and all of that behind that, but did not do search in the end. I believe did not do soft sun girl.
No, I
So
didn't.
You did search, okay?
No, I didn't. I did not.
Okay, yeah, okay, no. So there were a few checks that you did more than Manelash did, where Manelash was also willing to commit to hideout just about 2 minutes earlier than you, maybe 2 minutes earlier than you. So would have had the advantage on the time there anyway. But yeah, the red just exacerbated that problem with the Alakazam there in the end.
Yeah. I know if it had any decent physical moves, I would have had some issues. Luckily, I was faster.
And it was a pretty good Alakazam. Doesn't really need a special the speed DV, but the special definitely helped.
The only thing with the Alakazam was getting started. Finally, after basically in Goldenrod, started getting decent.
It definitely was not the easiest start with only Bubble Beam and Icy Wind. Again, the Thunderbolt definitely helped out considerably in the end there, and that you had to take 3 attempts to get through Bugsy was a bit unfortunate, but yeah, that Heracross really just
but the second and third attempt were basically just planned wipes back there anyway, so
yeah. I think that's pretty much all I wanted to mention or ask about. Chaotix, do you have anything that
No, nothing else from me.
Okay, Waka, Manelash, do you have anything else left that you want to talk about?
No.
I don't think so either.
Then I think we can move towards the end here. This was your last races of the Swiss stages. Obviously, both of you have been qualified through the brackets already. Manelash now most likely getting on by.
I think almost certain.
Yeah.
Unless there is some of his earlier opponents that do really, all of his opponents do really bad, and yours and maybe someone else's do good. Otherwise, he should be in.
yeah, I actually have the fate of Manelash regarding it in my own hands. If I lose, then all 5-1s will have a guaranteed buy at that point anyway. So I can, with a win, I can potentially force one of the 5-1s to not have one. But we will find out on Sunday about that. But yeah, nonetheless,
I'll be there as well then.
Yep, I've seen that. Will be definitely an interesting race for the Snow Bear. The question of who can avoid more longer for maybe the main one, but we'll see. But yeah, for both of you, it will now come to the stage where you need to remember about all those berry trees and hidden items, and the weak siblings again, because from the next race onwards in the second stage, we will be doing the crazy settings. Have you any thoughts on that? Are you excited to have a bigger item pool that you have to check, or what are your thoughts on it?
Well, I'm certainly happy about it. It's the one I'm more comfortable with, to be fair. Also, more items means efficiency might matter more even. And of course, different regions with more items mean some places are more enticing with the crazy settings than they have right now. For example, Route 4, where you have a Rock Smash hidden in Mount Moon and one on Route 4 itself.
Well, good luck everyone with your practice for the next round. And well, we'll see how that goes. There's obviously a gap between when that is ready to go. So good luck with your practice.
Thank you.
For the actual round 6 is far from over. There are a lot of matches come over the next 4 or 5 days. And there are even 2 more happening today in about 2 hours at 2 p.m. on SpeedGaming 4. There will be Zeruvian versus Pitlovan. And at 3 p.m. on this channel right here on the main SpeedGaming channel, we have Zeke versus Evo Apina. So those 2 races coming today. Then there will be a lot of races tomorrow, similar amount on Sunday, and then one on Monday and a few more on Tuesday to close out this last round of the Swiss stage. A lot of important races still to come, and yeah, will be interesting to see who can book their tickets towards the next stage and who we will have to drop out of the tournament after this. So yeah, keep an eye on the schedule if you want to catch more, and don't forget to tune in 2 hours again for the next races. But I think that's everything from here. So yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this race as much as I did, and yeah, see you next time.
Bye, everyone.